The Buffalo Bills have been an irrelevant doormat-type franchise for over a decade, really. Seems like ever since Jim Kelly left. Coming into this season, though, a lot of people, not only Buffalo fans, but a lot of objective observers of the NFL, thought that maybe this was the year that Buffalo was going to rise, maybe even challenge New England for supremacy in the AFC East, or at least contend for a playoff spot. And in the middle of the third quarter of last week's game, Bills fans were still hanging on to that hope, maybe, gripping onto it tighter than ever, because the Bills had a 21-7 lead over New England. They looked like they were on their way to going 3-1, sending New England to 1-3, and maybe finally that time was here for the Buffalo Bills and they could be a legitimate contender. However, the last quarter and a half of that game, they surrendered 45 points. Defense was mostly to blame. Of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing 4 interceptions did not help things. And it looks like now, from where we sit now, in the middle of the third quarter last week, we thought, Buffalo, really? I mean, are they going to go to 3-1, 2 games ahead of the Patriots? And now coming into this game, they're 9.5-point underdogs on the road in San Francisco. That line is 9.5 on BETDAQ. 2 totals markets being offered, 44.5 and 45. But now we look at the Bills and we think, well, same old Bills. I mean, yes, they have a pretty good offense. Ryan Fitzpatrick, a pretty good quarterback. Stevie Johnson, a legitimate number 1 wide receiver. Fred Jackson, a reliable tailback. He's back now from injury that caused him to miss a couple games early in the year. But the defense, I mean, despite spending all that money this offseason, bringing in Mario Williams, a high-priced defensive end from the Houston Texans, also bringing in another defensive end, Mark Anderson, who's been a proven pass rusher in the league. 4 out of their first 5 draft picks spent on defensive players. Where's the improvement? In 2 games this year against division opponents, in 2 games against AFC East opponents, New England and the New York Jets, the Bills have surrendered 100 points. 52 last week to New England, 48 to the New York Jets. Yeah, they beat up on a couple of bad teams in week 2 and 3. So what? This is a team that has won 4 division games in the past 4 seasons. They've now played 26 division games in the past 4+ years. They are 4-22 in those games. So until further notice, I still think this is a doormat, irrelevant franchise. Probably will get blown out on the road this week in San Francisco. The Niners have shown what they are this season. They've shown that last year was no fluke. Last year, of course, just so close to the Super Bowl, lost in the NFC Championship game. If not for some late turnovers in that game, they probably would have beat the Giants and advanced to the Super Bowl. But they've been dominating for the most part this year. They did have that strange loss to the Minnesota Vikings, but it's been a dominating, impressive 3-1, punctuated with that 34-0 victory last week over the New York Jets. This Niners defense is suffocating. The Bills are going to have to throw it a lot because they're not going to be able to run the ball on this front 7. They don't have a problem throwing it a lot. Ryan Fitzpatrick gets back there and pitches it around. We mentioned 4 interceptions last week, but he did throw 4 touchdown passes also. Listen, I expect the Bills offense to have some success in this game, certainly more success than the Jets had last week against the Niners, but I still think the 2 totals in this game, 44.5, 45, a little high. Lean towards the under in this game. It's probably my favorite bet of this game. I'm not going to get involved as far as the handicap goes. Niners are a 9.5-point favorite, and I do expect them, I guess, to cover that number, but this is a conservative type offense, and I know Buffalo's been bad on defense, but you can bet that Bills defense is going to be challenged by their coaching staff after giving up 45 points in the last quarter and a half in the last game. And this offense they're playing, they'll never be mistaken for the New England Patriots. The Niners like to run the ball, pound it with Frank Gore. Alex Smith, they don't ask him to do too much. The consummate game manager, I know that's a cliche, and most quarterbacks take that as an insult, but really that's what Alex Smith's been the last couple of years, and it's been better than what he was for his first few seasons in the league. But I guess I'm staying away from this game. Certainly lead towards the San Francisco side, but could this be a letdown spot for San Francisco? Big road win last week against the New York Jets, 34-0. They host the New York Giants next week, defending Super Bowl champs, so I'm sure they'll be excited about that game. Could they be looking past Buffalo? Buffalo has a type of offense. I guess they could come through with a backdoor cover here. Wouldn't be surprised to see a situation like Niners up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Bills score a meaningless touchdown to lose by 7 and, blow San Francisco's bettors tickets. So something like that, I could foresee happening. I guess that's scared me off of playing this game. I guess the under, as I said, would be my favorite bet here. But I do expect the San Francisco 49ers to win this ballgame on Sunday.